Teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. Psalm 86, verse 11. Part of Psalm 86 is prescribed for today's reading by the daily lectionary, so I read it. And I didn't get past the first verse of the pericope for today. Teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. This is something I struggle with all the time. What is God's way? How do I walk in God's truth? Some days I feel pretty confident that I have a decent idea. Other days, though, I find myself at a loss as to how so many different people of faith, people of Christian faith, people who are Lutheran Christians like I am, find myself at a loss as to how so many different people of faith can come to such different conclusions in relation to what's happening in the world around us. In our society, we seem to have come to a place where there are two sides of every single issue, strictly delineated and far separate from each other. And if you're not on my side, then you're obviously wrong, no matter who it is that's taking a side or standing in whatever position. I mean, I certainly do have my own opinions on most things, and I also do my very best to listen to people whose opinions are different than mine. But then I'm stuck, because my opinion, which I believe to be based in faith and which I believe to be right, is different from my neighbor's position, which I believe is based in faith, and which my neighbor believes is right. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck because two different people from positions of faith come to different conclusions. So I wonder where we go. As a Christian, I believe that Jesus is the incarnation of God in our midst. And I believe that Jesus shows us God's way and helps us to know how to walk in God's truth, to reference back to the psalm. So I do everything I can to turn to Jesus as often as possible. When I turn to Jesus, this is what I see. I see love. I see love for those who are close to him, and I see Jesus' love for strangers. I see Jesus' love for those in authority, and I see his love for those on the margins, far from authority. And I have to remember that showing love for someone doesn't necessarily mean that Jesus approves of their actions or behavior. Remember Zacchaeus? Jesus loved Zacchaeus. Jesus loved Zacchaeus enough to invite himself over to Zacchaeus' house. And still, Jesus gave Zacchaeus instruction to change how he operated in the world. I mean, so I can obviously all day long say love is the answer. Just love each other, everybody, like Jesus did, like Jesus does. That falls short and is a little cheesy, because what does it really mean? Where I see the rubber meeting the road, then, is when I look at where Jesus went, where Jesus spent time. And it seems to have most often been on the margins of society that Jesus spent time. Jesus paid attention to those whose society, those in authority, had pushed to the edges and away from the places of power. This is where Jesus embodied God's love, not only for those who are important, but for those who society says belong outside and on the edges and on the margins. I wonder if that isn't our call today, to work, to listen, and to give voice to those communities who have been pushed to the margins. There's plenty who've been pushed to the margins in our society today. Look around. and you'll see them. I wonder if this is how we embody God's incarnate love in the world today, by listening to and giving voice to those communities who have been pushed to the margins.